We got a pretty nice deal on an Airbnb here in Fortuna, a couple minutes from downtown, really close to all the different activities and hiking, volcanoes and everything. After putting our stuff down, we went out for a quick bite in town. We were exhausted after a long day of travel between the flights and then the 2.5-hour drive to Fortuna. The next morning, we went to check out the La Fortuna Waterfall Trail, and within moments, we were already seeing the leafcutter ants. And as we would come to learn with most of the attractions and trails in Costa Rica, there was an $18 per person entry fee to get in and see the waterfall. And the trail down was maybe less than a mile or so, with a couple hundred steps and some monkeys along the way as well. Next up on our agenda was the Místico Arenal hanging bridges. This park contains a series of hanging suspension bridges going through the canopy, and you will see some different animals, bugs, amphibians, birds, maybe even a sloth, but your best bet is to book a guide because they will find so much more of the wildlife that you would just walk by on your own, like we did. And we finished up our time in Fortuna with a visit to the Rio Celeste National Park. It's about an 1.5-hour drive from Fortuna, and you do have to book your ticket online and then come back up a bunch of steps from the waterfall. So now we are on to a night in Monteverde and get to check out the cloud forest. A lot of the roads between Fortuna and Monteverde were unpaved and rough roads, so give yourself a little bit of extra time. And with my dad being a foodie, we couldn't resist a coffee and chocolate tour in Monteverde. It was incredibly interesting and a lot of fun to see the process behind things that we consume every day.
Inside, you're gonna have the cacao nibs. So with a little bit.
As a daily coffee drinker, it was really interesting and quite eye-opening to see the entire process behind making a cup of coffee. That also might have been the coffee that was eye-opening. And I even got to see a coati at the end of the tour. And as part of the coffee and chocolate tour, you can add on a night walk, which is a really cool experience no matter what part of Costa Rica you do it in, because a lot of the animals are nocturnal. And once again, your guides will be able to find a lot more than you'll see on your own.
Building all the web around here every morning.
So today we're in the Santa Elena Cloud Forest Reserve. We're up at about 5,500 feet here. And it's dense rainforest with clouds blowing through, and we're gonna see if we can spot any animals today. And $18 per person to get in, so a little bit cheaper than the Monteverde Cloud Forest Preserve, and it seems to be a little quieter. And we went up to the observation tower, but as you can imagine, in a cloud forest, the clouds block most of the view. And the only animal we ended up spotting was a centipede. And once again, going back to you'll see the most wildlife if you hire a guide. And like most of the roads outside of downtown Monteverde, it was a fairly rugged ride. But as you can see us passing a small sedan, if you go slow, it's nothing your car can't handle. And that takes us into the urban driving in Costa Rica, which can at times be hectic. A lot of times very narrow streets and impatient drivers, so be on the lookout. After a couple days in the rainforest and cloud forest, we were excited to be on the beach with some beautiful sunsets, opportunities to surf, and enjoy some R&R after quite a few hikes. And we stayed at Hotel Jaco, which was about $150 a night, but really nice rooms close to dining and the Crocodile Bridge. Alright, so here at the Crocodile Bridge today, only one croc, but still pretty cool to see out in the wild. This particular croc has been named Mike Tyson by the locals, and this one has been measured at 21 feet long. From there we went back to the beach where I decided to take up those opportunities for surfing, which I hadn't done in a number of years, and you can see here. But I was able to get a lesson for $40, and the guys were really helpful, and by the next day on my own, I was up on the board. And after an awesome week with my dad, it was time to drop him off the airport and pick up my friend Courtney for another week of Costa Rica adventure. And today we're checking out a little abandoned hotel. We definitely had some fun poking around the different rooms and vistas inside the Miro hotel. Seeing all the different art along the way too was pretty cool. It wasn't just graffiti, there were some murals and really well done stuff. After Jaco, we had a few-hour drive down to the beaches of Dominical, and these were actually some of the best roads, so we made pretty good time, which meant we got an awesome beach to ourselves for sunset. So today doing Nayuka waterfalls, about a 4-mile round-trip hike, $10 per person. You can take a 4x4 tour if you want to. But then you don't get the nice hike in. This is just outside of Dominical on the western coast. The hike in wasn't anything too strenuous, just a little hot and gradually uphill. And then leading down to the falls was just a series of steps, a few of them a little bit slippery, but nothing particularly complicated. And multiple levels of the waterfalls were just stunning. At the upper level, you got some great photo opportunities. At the lower level, you could go swimming or do as we did and took a picture from the lower level to the upper level. After that, we were still in a waterfall mood, so we went to check out Ico Chamales, which is a family-owned waterfall with a little restaurant and a pretty rugged road with some skinny bridges to get in there. And later on, we would see that that was just the beginning of the tough driving. The short trail down to the falls was beautiful, another rainforesty hike, and we even saw forest crabs, which I didn't even know were a thing, before making it down to the actual waterfall itself. Forget this. We just, I took a wrong turn. Courtney probably had the right sense of direction to begin with, but we ended up doing a 4x4 route through the jungle in the rain in a little Mitsubishi. And we lived. But there was a couple water crossings where we were sending it or the car's going swimming, but we made it. Jalapeno chips in the back. Unexpectedly longer day.
Yeah, dude. I thought we'd be out till the afternoon.
Didn't turn out as planned. And after the craziness of the previous day, we decided to check out Manuel Antonio National Park and have a little bit more of a easygoing day. This is another one that you do have to reserve online, so make sure to get on there to get your passes. You start out with walking through some mangroves as you make your way up to the couple different beaches that are available at the park. All of them are beautiful, and because you need a reservation to limit the park, it keeps it from getting overly busy. There was still a good amount of people there, but it never felt crowded. And we did get to see a sloth, but this was because we were walking by a guided tour who had already pointed it out. These are really tough to spot on your own. But we did spot this black iguana hanging out on the beach, and he posed for a few quick photos. And then we got to see the real stars of Manuel Antonio, the monkeys. And we had a pretty cool guest at our Airbnb that night, probably the biggest frog that I've ever seen up close. And today we are at the Whale's Tail Marina Elena in Uvita. It's a cool sandbar formation where it's a little causeway out that's only visible at low tide. So make sure to check the tide charts and to come check this cool place out. After the beach, we were headed up into Perez, Zeledon, which is one of the mountainous areas of Costa Rica and home to its tallest peak, Cerro Chirripo, which we would be setting out to hike in the days to come. Alright, so just checked into our last Airbnb. Went and got our permits for the summit tomorrow. The ranger let out quite a hearty chuckle when we told him our plans. So we're gonna see how that plays out. We're gonna get a start at like, I don't know, probably leaving our Airbnb at midnight tonight to start our climb up somewhere. One of those, higher than we are now. Off to a good start. All right, about halfway to base camp. Let's go. Walk. Go.
Oh.
So just made the base camp. You can book a night in the lodge here like months in advance. We did not. We planned this whole trip a week in advance and this climb 2 days in advance. So we're doing the full thing in a day. About to pop in the little store though and see what they've got for refreshments or coffee. Boom!
Snacks.
And there goes Court. Turbo Gal. And I think that's the summit.
Final push.
Recording it. Chirripo summit. Now I just gotta get down.
kind of did.
And the views at the top were beautiful, but we did still have a little over 13 miles to go before we would be back to the car, so we didn't spend too long before working our way down. And we were coming back through the rainforest right as dusk was setting in, so it was particularly buggy. Definitely recommend bringing along a bug hat to keep them off of you if you're doing some hiking.
Yeah, Starboy, having a good day?
It's been a nice little recovery day down in the river, that private access to the little lodge where we're staying for this tail end of the trip. So I just got to our last little spot before we head out tomorrow. It's a little $45 a night Airbnb in Alajuela, about 2 or 3 minutes from the airport, right here in the little central downtown area. And yeah, nice little end cap for the trip.